In this video, we have a woman who was driving along a back road in the UK when they came across something, at the very least, was illegal. As she is driving along this seemingly one-lane road, she rounds a bend, and that was when she spotted a group of men standing outside of a white van that was parked alongside of the road. As she got closer, the woman could tell that they were illegally dumping garbage on the side of the road, and she decided to confront them.
What do you think you're doing? It's illegal dumping rubbish. What do you think you're doing?
It's fine, it's fine. Hey.
But they clearly didn't like being called out for their actions, and two of the men began to approach her car. In the background, you can see one of the men holding what looked like some sort of freezer that he was getting ready to unload. Meanwhile, the two men who had approached the car began yelling back at the woman, but things got really scary for her when the two noticed that she had been recording them on her dashboard camera. After noticing the camera, the men began yelling about it.
Stop! The camera! The camera! Give me your camera!
Get off!
Give me your camera!
Get off!
The camera!
Get
the
off!
camera!
Get off!
And one of them even tried to reach into the car and steal it. This caused the woman to begin backing up down the road, but the men weren't quite finished with her, and one of the men decided to jump and cling onto the hood of the car before she managed to shake them off.
Get off!
The camera!
Get
the
off!
camera!
Get off!
Hey!
God, for God's sake! God's sake!
As this driver made their way down this wet and windy road, you can tell that it had just rained. The driver is being cautious around the bends, and there are puddles lining the side of the road along the guardrail. Now, one thing that doesn't come to most people's minds when they are driving down the road after or during rainy weather is that nature can be unpredictable, something these passengers are about to learn the hard way. As the car continued down the road, their dashcam picked up something strange in front of them that caused them to slow down. There was a tree that had fallen during the storm lying across the road. Lucky for the driver, they were able to pass by it. However, that might not have been their best decision. You see, trees tend to have complex root systems that sometimes become intertwined with other trees in the area, and in that case, when one of these trees falls, those that it was attached to by roots tend to be pulled down with it. As the driver continued to pass the fallen tree, it wasn't long before another one down the road ahead of the car fell forward. This caused a domino effect, and though the driver tried to reverse out of the situation, the trees began falling in their direction. The vehicle was quickly pinned underneath a mass of trees with no way of getting out. Thankfully, no one in the vehicle was injured in the situation.
Задний ход, давай задний ход.
This driver was enjoying the scenic view and the open road more than 6 years ago while driving along Angeles Crest Highway. Using their camera, you can tell they were enjoying the views created by the mountains and foliage running along the side of the road. But things take a turn for the worst as the driver entered a tunnel passing through a small section of the mountain. You see, inside the tunnel, the sound of the vehicle's exhaust system was amplified, and the driver obviously liked the sound of it, so they decided to speed up. Speeding up not only made the sound of the exhaust much louder, but also put the unsuspecting driver in serious danger. As the driver continued to speed through the tunnel, they had no idea that right after they exited their tunnel, they would have to make a turn. And because of the speed they were going, the car had no chance. You can hear the panic in the driver's voice as they began to lose control of their car, and it was sent flying off the side of the cliff.
Oh no! Oh no!
The car rolled a bit before stopping about 20 feet below the highway. Thankfully, no one inside the vehicle was injured, and it was more terrifying than anything. It just goes to show you that you should always drive safely, even when you're enjoying yourself. After crossing the border into Mexico, this driver had a startling experience with what many assume were members of the cartel. The incident occurred in Nuevo Laredo, and the driver seemed to know something was wrong as soon as he pulled up to what turned out to be a very dangerous situation. As the vehicle approached a spotlight, he noticed that there were cars stopped in all 3 of the lanes, and 2 of the vehicles had people standing outside of them. And as the driver pulled up behind the vehicle in the middle lane, they pulled forward seemingly as if they were going to let the driver through. This is when things took a quick turn though, as the driver of the truck began to pull up further, and you can see another car quickly swing in front of them, attempting to block him in. It's at that time you can hear the man on the other side of the truck banging on the doors and windows for them to open up. The driver reacted quickly and threw his truck in reverse before backing out of the situation. The other vehicles and the men continued to try to trap the truck in place, but the driver was able to swing around them before making a U-turn and driving back in the direction they came from.
It's the cartel.
Yeah.
Next, we have a terrifying encounter that occurred on I-35 West near Keller, Texas. While driving down the road on her Hyundai Elantra, this woman noticed that this white Dodge had been following her, and after making multiple unnecessary turns in order to confirm that they were being followed, the driver decided to try to get the pursuing vehicle's information. After pulling over into a turning lane near a local hospital, the driver began capturing the footage of the Dodge that we see here. In the video, we can see the car sitting in the middle of the road with its brake lights engaged. The driver of the Elantra waited behind the Dodge and attempted to get their license plate so they could file a police report. But after sitting in their car for a minute, the people inside the Dodge decided that they waited enough. You can tell by the brake lights that they put their car into park, and then multiple men emerged from the vehicle and began walking back toward the victim in the video. The driver of the Elantra quickly pulled off, nearly hitting the man on the passenger side of the Dodge, and immediately drove to the nearest police officer. While driving behind a bus full of children, this dashcam captured one of the most intense close calls that have ever been caught on camera. The video begins as the bus is driving down the road and getting ready to pull over to let a group of kids off at their stop. They pull to the side of the road, and unlike most scenarios, the only cars that stopped are the ones behind the bus. You can see the cars are still driving by in the oncoming lane. The kids then begin to line up along the side of the road, preparing to cross the street, not knowing that on the other side of the bus, a large 18-wheeler had no idea they were there. It's luck for the kids that as they began to cross, the vehicle with the dashcam installed began honking, alerting everyone of the situation. The driver of the oncoming truck slammed on the brakes as hard as they could, and thankfully, the truck managed to come to a stop It was one of the scariest dashcam videos I ever seen, with the truck coming within inches of that child.
Utfordringen med å få unge I arbeid så stor at den ikke kan overlates til myndighetene alene. Flere bedrifter må nå ta mer samfunnsansvar, sier hotellkongen Petter Stordalen. Over 70 000 unge verken I virksomhet eller utdanning.
Two women were driving along a highway in California when they had a terrifying encounter with another driver. During the incident, you can hear the women in the car had become panicked when another woman in a truck began following them and attempting to get them to pull over.
She's telling you to pull over.
No. I'm not pulling over for you.
Go past her.
I'm not pulling over.
Hey, God.
Dude!
Just keep driving. I know, just keep driving as well as you can. You're fine, I promise.
During the entire ordeal, which was recorded on camera, the women tried to lose their pursuer and get her to back off, but they were unsuccessful, which caused them to call the police. While on the phone with the police, they were given directions to the nearest officer that was informed and waiting for them to arrive and help them out of this scary situation.
Hi, we have a really bad emergency on Highway 80, and we're right now passing Dutch Flat Road. We have a vehicle that has been following us, telling us that she's a cop and keeps trying to tell us to pull over. And it's
swerving in front of us.
Yes, we're in the white Mazda. Yes, ma'am. And she's swerving us off the road. She keeps trying to hit us off the road.
During the time the women were on the phone with the police, the truck that was chasing them can be seen trying to ram them, and at one point, even pushing them off of the road.
She just hit our car. She just hit our car. She's pushing us off of the road. Yeah, she's pushing us off the road. She's coming for us. Put it in reverse. Put it in reverse, Vanessa. Put it in reverse.
Luckily, they were able to get away, and when they pulled up to the police officer that had been waiting for them, the woman finally left them alone and drove off. A 50-year-old woman was later arrested for the incident, though it's unclear what she ended up being charged with.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Bye-bye. Can we get away from her and talk to you?
Don't worry.
Sorry, I'm scared.
Next, we have an attempted carjacking, or possibly worse, that occurred in Albuquerque, New Mexico. According to the driver, he was asked by his friend to go to the store with her because it was late and the parking lot was sketchy, and she was lucky that she took this precaution. After helping his friend, the two got into their own vehicles and parted ways. However, immediately after pulling out of the parking lot, Dashcam footage captured the moment another vehicle pulled out behind him and then speeds up to catch up to the driver. Once they had caught up to him at the intersection, the pursuing car that began pulling in front of his truck in an attempt to block him in. The driver of the truck was smart enough to back out of the situation and began driving through a nearby parking lot to escape the people that had been chasing him. Their pursuit goes on for a couple of minutes, with the entire thing being captured on video. Who knows what would have happened had the driver not seen a cop in the other lane. He then began honking for the officer's attention and even got out of the car to flag him down.
What the hell is going on? Oh, there's a cop right next to me. This guy right behind me. Hold on. Hey, this guy right here. Are you still there? This guy right here.
This is when you can see the car that was chasing him pull away from the scene quickly, only to end up being chased by the police.
What was that? You saw that shit? Holy shit!